Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to my channel. My name is Nicola Dickens. This is Free My Cure. If you've never been here before, welcome to my channel. If you have, welcome back. It is so good to see you guys. Excuse me just a moment. Let's go ahead and share this feed out. Today we are reviewing Deadhead OG and Dark Helmet Concentrate from Arizona Organics here in Arizona. So let's share the feed and we will get on with it. No, not that feed. Sorry guys, this just takes a minute. One last share and we are on with it. Sorry guys, it always takes the longest amount of time. So today we are only reviewing one concentrate. It is Deadhead OG and Dark Helmet. One last post. Okay. How is everybody? Beauty Brad, how you doing? I am having an okay day. It has not been too bad. Michelle, how you doing, sweetie? How's everybody doing? So today we are reviewing Deadhead OG and Dark Helmet. So this is a bit darker of a concentrate. Real pretty still. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and taste her out. See what she tastes like. Well, I'm going to fall off of this stool one of these days. So I have a little bit of concentrate that stayed in this little packet here, so I'm just going to pull out some of this out, and we're going to go ahead and dab it. Haha. Hopefully I don't drop anything. So as always, guys, fuck cancer. So good. Lemony. Wow. Very, very, very lemony. Phew. Yummy though. Oh, excuse me. So today I brought out my cleaning stuff to kind of show you guys how I clean my e-nail. So I have two Tupperware containers here that have lids on it. And they just kind of snap together. One has alcohol in it and the other has water in it. So basically all I do is I'm going to take the lid off of the water first. I grab one of these great Q-tips that I got out of Hemper, or that I got from Hemper. And I'm just going to clean out the inside of this banger. As you can see, it's not too dirty because every time I smoke out of it, I try to clean it. Now I'm going to take the alcohol, take the opposite end of the Q-tip, dip that in the alcohol, and get it good and clean. So as you can see, the nail will stay clean. You don't get crusties in there. You get a really good fresh hit off of it every time, and it's very simple to clean. It's really that easy. That's all you do. Yay! So let's get on with this. Deadhead OG and Dark Helmet Concentrate review. Deadhead OG, I'm not sure of where either one of these originate from. So I don't know the parents of either one of them. So Deadhead OG is a 60-40 sativa hybrid. It has about a 25% THC rating in it. You can see that it's thick. It is flexible. However, it's not real sticky. It goes straight off into the banger. It doesn't stick to my hands. You don't get that stickiness on your fingers, which I really, really like. I got a lot of lemony in that hit itself, but it was a very sweet lemony. I want to go back to that lemon pledge. That's just what it just reminds me of, and I'm not sure why. And so it's on this, it says, it goes without saying, it is the finest strain of its kind and will not leave you with an itchy throat, and neither it's uncomfortable to exhale. That is actually true. I didn't have any problems exhaling this one. It was a bigger dab for me. So when I did exhale it, I didn't get that horrible pepper burn. I didn't get it to where I had to pause because I couldn't speak. It did knock the wind out of me a little bit, but not as bad. So this one wasn't a real hurtful exhale. This one was an easier exhale. She is an effective from your first drag, noticing the feelings of euphoria and amusement. So the effects of her are relaxed, happy, euphoric, uplifted, and focused. Medicinally to treat stress, pain, depression, insomnia, headaches, anorexia, anxiety, bipolar, and nausea. Negatives on this are dry eyes, mouth, dizzy, a little bit of paranoia. I never really get paranoia when it comes to my strains. I don't know if it's because I'm a legal cannabis user, because I do get my card from, the state every year. I do keep it up. So I do know that helps with my anxiety a lot. So I know that I'm not doing it without permissions, basically. So I don't know if that anxiety is for somebody who doesn't have their card or has more of an anxiety issue, if that's where it hits them. But I never really get that paranoid, oh my God, I'm going to go to jail type of a feeling. I did get suicidal at the very beginning because I didn't understand and realize how it was hitting me. And that's why I created this channel, was to help other people understand and to realize that when you first do or start doing cannabis and you start doing heavier hits with dabbing or anything like that, you're going to get this rush of feelings, not just the euphoria and the body high and the head high. You're going to get this rush of feelings. You're going to remember every bad decision that you've made in your life, and you're going to start analyzing it. If you're anything like me, it's how I work with cannabis. And that's basically what happened at the beginning for me, was that I first smoked, I got real, as they say, high as fuck, and I got suicidal because I started thinking about every bad decision I ever made. And I'm like, I could have, which would have been smarter and things would have been better, or I could have, and I didn't. I always chose the wrong way. And so that is something that I want people to understand when they first start using cannabis. Go easy on yourself. Don't judge yourself too hard, because you are going to be your worst critic. Understand that. Don't let it get so inside of you about these decisions that you've made to where you do get as suicidal as I did. I luckily have a lot of training in suicide prevention, psychology, and all of this. So I was able to get myself out of it by seeking professional help. So please, if you are in that type of position, please seek professional help and understand that what is going on in your body is cannabis is coming in and you're getting rushed with all of this feelings and emotion and euphoria and relaxation, and all of it is overwhelming at first, and it can be very stressful. So sorry about that. So dabbing some biodiesel. All right. I always get paranoid and panicky. Really? Are you a legal cannabis user? Do you get your card? I mean, did any of that make sense? Do you see any of the correlation to that? So yeah, do take it easy on yourself. You are, I don't know if it's like, we need a, I don't know. I heard something the other day, and it's kind of how it's stuck in my head. Do the Watchers have watchers? You turn into your own watcher when you start using cannabis in heavier doses, with edibles, with dabbing, with even some flower. You're going to become your worst critic, and you're going to think a little bit more thoroughly, because you're outside of that position now. So you can always see things more clearly when you're not in the middle of that situation. But when you're outside of that situation, you can kind of see it a little bit more clearly. So don't be too hard on yourself. Do please seek professional help if you do need that. Please do. Hi, Michelle. How you doing, sweetie? Partly cloudy, 420. How you doing, darling? Oh, it is so great to see you guys. So let's hit Dark Helmet. Dark Helmet, again, don't know where she originates from. I don't have a card, but where I live in Cali, it's not a big deal. Okay, so you're a Cali, yeah. You're fine. Yeah, a lot of it is us. We become our own judges. And I don't know. I can always see things more clearly when I can remove myself from that situation. And a lot of times the situation's already over. So I've already been able to analyze those bad mistakes. So now that I'm using cannabis like this, I mean, I scrutinize everything. I'm like, okay, I could do da, or I could da 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 da. So I try to, and I play several different scenarios when I'm using cannabis in order to make it work. And I try to overthink that outcome because I always prefer to think that the very, very worst is going to happen. And then it's, oh, I got a slap on the hand. Okay, I didn't expect that, but all right. So I always over prepare myself. You know, if I know that I'm going into the doctor for a test result, I'm like, okay, I know he's going to say we're going to have to do this, 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 and this because this came back. And I already have this idea of what's going to happen. And then I go into the doctor and he's like, no, I've already ordered the test. You know you got to do them, but we need to talk about this thing. And you're like, what? And they throw you off. Doesn't happen very often in the medical industry, but it does happen. I have my card, but it's not, oh yeah, I have my card, but it's not really worth having except to keep me out of legal trouble. Yeah, see, and that's kind of the same way it is here too. I don't have too many friends for the most part, so I mean, I don't really get out and about. I don't really drive much anymore with the way my bladder is. It's much easier for me to ride than it is for me to drive. So, I mean, how much trouble can you get in when you're at home all the time? Really, not much. I mean, I'll go to the dispensary and stuff with hubby and I'll do that kind of things, but I try to stay away from driving for the most part. I'm always afraid that I'm going to have a bladder spasm in the middle of having to press the brake or something's going on, or I know that when those bladder spasms are hitting one after another, it will, I mean, half of my brain is down there. So I know that I am not focusing on the road, so I know it is not safe for other people, so I try to stay away from driving. So it's more of a, I know it's better for everybody else, so I don't want to do it. Sounds like me. I never leave the house unless I have a doctor's appointment. Yeah, I think my anxiety stems from my parents being so anti-marijuana. That very well could be too. My father, when I first came to grips with the fact that I smoked pot and I was suicidal, my father actually went to prison for a very long time for selling an undercover cop 100 pounds of marijuana in the 70s. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And I'll tell you what, it's really sad because my father died a few years ago from cancer. Never having tried Rick Simpson oil, never having, I mean, he didn't even want to have the conversation with me. So pot was not his thing. Once he got busted with it and went to jail and all of the stuff with me happened, yeah, he wanted nothing to do with it, and he was okay doing, you know, chemotherapy and radiation, and he died a very, very, very horrible death. Very horrible. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It was horrible. So I get it. I know why you are, you know, or why that paranoia is there. You need to be a little less critical of yourself and start going, okay, I can relax. Take that breather. For many of us now, especially now that Jeff Sessions is no longer the DA, or the GA, the general attorney, or, my brain does not want to work right this second. So this is what happens when I go into a bladder spasm. I start not being able to think because my brain automatically goes into my bladder. You can't stop it. I can get part of my brain back because then I go blah blah blah. I gotta think. I gotta focus. So yeah, with Sessions being gone, a lot of these states are relaxing on the marijuana, and then with the attorney, the where do I want the general attorney, the big guy, the elect one, he is saying, you know, don't worry about marijuana laws in legal states. If it's legal in your state, we are not going we're not going after prosecution in those states. So I mean that should take a lot off of your chest. Bladder spasms are actually one of the worst pains. It is so bad. Let me tell you, I'm having to sit down and write a letter today to the disability board because I was denied, and I have to, you know, we're appealing it, which is fine. So I have to write this long letter about bladder spasms, and yeah, let me tell you what, it is one of the worst pain. When your bladder is pissed off at you, it doesn't matter what part of your body, none of it likes you. Your stomach doesn't like you. Your head starts to hurt. It's almost like you get the flu. You get these horrible muscle aches. You get tired. You get depressed a lot more because now you're hurting and you don't feel well and you can't focus. And that's a huge thing for me, is that focusing. I get so frustrated if I can't sit down and do the writing that I do on a daily basis, and I can't focus on that writing. I get so frustrated that I just go to bed because there's nothing else I can do. It's irritating. I want to get so mad that I want to scream and break something, but I would have to fix it, or I'd hurt myself, or, you know, whatever. It is one of the worst pains, and it is one of the most distracting pains. And I'll tell you what, you don't realize how glorious it is that you don't feel your bladder 99% of the time. But that 1% of the time that you are feeling your bladder in regular people, let me tell you what, it is not something you will ever want to forget. And I've had nurses come to me and you know, put their hands on my shoulders, because I go into emergency rooms asking them to Foley me, put it in because it's not working and it hurts. The minute that bladder starts overfilling, that pain of that stretching, and if there's sores in that bladder, all of that starts stretching and pulling and inflaming, and then it starts bleeding, and it's just hell. It is horrible. It's the worst thing in the world. So, yes, bladder pain fucking sucks. So that's probably a whole lot more than you ever wanted to know about bladder pain. But in a nutshell, that's what it's like. If I didn't smoke cannabis on a daily basis right now, I would literally be in the hospital most of the time, because I would have to be asleep, and regular pain meds don't work for me. I don't take them anymore, simply because I was so addicted to them. Oh my God, it was so bad. I couldn't function without them. So marijuana has given me that part of my life back, and I like that. I wouldn't be able to do these videos every day with you guys without marijuana. It's my subject matter, so it would really be a boring video. And B, I would be in too much pain to be able to keep it going. And that's really, I mean, this helps with my quality of life. However, I can't smoke pot and function out in public every day either. Let's see. If you're out in, let's say I go to a mall, which doesn't happen very often. I do a lot of online shopping. I do not like going to a mall. And somebody comes up behind me, and let's just say, because this has happened on more than one occasion, my bladder starts to spasm the minute somebody touches me or grabs me or tries to talk to me. All of a sudden, and I freak out. I get such bad anxiety, and I will literally I fainted before. It is so bad. And I feel so horrible. But that's how it works. Beauty Brat. I'm so glad I found your channel. You understand so much. You're so relatable. Thank you. You know, you're very welcome. It is hard. It is so hard today. It is really hard today. There are so many people out in this world, and so many of them I love to talk to and I want to talk to. However, there's a fence that's, you know, right in the front of my little house here, and I don't like to leave it. It's my safe zone. It's my protected zone. Because my anxiety level when I'm at work is so high, or when I was at work. I haven't actually left my house for work in a couple of years, because of how bad things have gotten. If I have to go to the bathroom, it's now. It's not in a few minutes, it's now. It's got to empty, because I don't notice a difference in my bladder until it's almost too late. And then since my bladder doesn't drain on its own, I have to force a catheter in there. So I have to take catheters with me everywhere I go. I have to be able to dispose of them everywhere I go. And it's a pain in the ass, and it hurts. And if I have to wait too long to use that catheter, now all of a sudden I have a bladder, a urethra in a full spasm doing this, and I'm trying to force a catheter and it won't go. Now all of a sudden I can't go to the bathroom at all. And I'm like, oh crap, I just had a 32-ounce icy, and it's got to have someplace to go. So, I mean, it's so hard. It is really hard. I love being out with people. I love going out and doing things, but it has to be on my terms. And other people don't fully understand that. They think, oh, you have to go to the bathroom. No big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's not an easy, I'm going to run in there, drop my drawers and go. It's okay, shit, I got to go to the bathroom. It's going to take me 20 minutes because now I got to pull all my catheter supplies out. I got to get everything prepped. Got to get my gloves on. Now I got to take my pants down. Now I got to do everything else. Now I've got to drain because all of my catheters have their bags. So I got to drain all of this crap. And it's like, oh my God, it never ends. And then if you think about it, think about how many times you go to the bathroom on a daily basis. How many times do you do this routine on a daily basis that it takes you 15 to 20 minutes just to use the bathroom? I don't know about you guys, but I usually go anywhere from 7 to 10 times, in a 24-hour period if I'm not having a cystitis outburst, because that's what it is. It is not a disagreement. It is an outburst. It is a bladder telling you flat out, fuck you. Go kill yourself. Go do anything that you want, but you're not going to enjoy nothing. So, and then to top it all off, then you're going to take one of my, I don't know about you guys', but my favorite fucking pastime. And it ruins it. And by what I mean by that is sex. Sex has always been an amazing thing. Now, if you think about it, you're going to town, you're having a great old time, and all of a sudden your bladder goes, I don't want to do this right now. Let's see if we can, we're gonna just nudge her a little bit, see what happens. You're like, no, we got this. You're gonna, no. And then it goes, guess she doesn't want to stop. Wham! And that's what happens, is automatically you get hit. Now all of a sudden you don't want to scream out because it hurts. You can't start crying because that's going to make your spouse feel like shit. So what do? This is a fair trade here, right guys? Not in my book. Oh, I know. I have heard doctors tell me to suck it up. I have wanted to rip my own hair out. I have been laying in bed saying, kill me please, kill me please, kill me please. And my husband going, Nikki, don't say that. Because not that he underestimates how much it hurts, but more that he doesn't want to hear me say that because it makes him feel horrible. So you can't win for losing. It doesn't work. So, you know, guys, I get it. I do. I get your pain. I understand it. I mean, I was laying in bed last night, and I looked up at my husband. I'm like, dude, I don't know what's up. I counted 217 muscle or bladder spasms today. 217. That means I didn't go 1 hour without a bladder spasm, not one. And you guys know, it's when you get one, I mean, it'll take you down. It pauses what you're doing. It stops your brain from thinking. You can't think of words anymore. And all of a sudden, your bladder goes, I want your attention. I want all of your attention, and I want it now. And then what do? How do you fix that? So, I have been through just about every treatment known to man for interstitial cystitis. So as I'm writing this paper today, let's do another dab. What do you think, guys? Let's smoke. Uh-oh, I broke too much. As I'm writing this paper today, I have gone through just about every treatment known to man for interstitial cystitis. So I'm going to kind of go through it with you guys. So if I forget anything, or if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I have done just about all of it. So it started out, I was diagnosed with interstitial cystitis 20 years ago. It was actually 19 years and 3 months ago. I know, crazy, right? The first treatment we tried was a drug called Elmeron. With this drug, you would take it orally. I think I took 2 tablets 3 times a day for that whole, all month for a few years. And then once a week, I went to my doctor, and he took 2 of the pills, and he mixed them up in the saline solution, and he injected 300 to 500 cc's of this medication into my bladder, where I would have to sit with it for at least 30 minutes before I voided. So, let's smoke. So, as always, guys, butt cancer. Interstitial cystitis, yes. I take Helment 3 times a day, yeah. So, then he did the installations where he took 2 of those capsules, broke them open into that saline, put it into my bladder once a week. And we did that for a year, almost a year. During this, we did notice that it was helping some. Now, Elmeron is kind of a cool drug that they came up with for Big Pharma, and it is made up of basic bladder tissue. What it does is it goes down into there and it starts adhering to the sides of your bladder. You slough off any of the overage. It actually is a good drug to be on as long as your body is taking it great. Keep going, because that is where once the Elmeron stopped working for me is when I started going downhill. So, excuse me. So I was on that Elmeron, plus I was on 100 5-milligram Valium tablets a month, plus Percocet or Vicodin, whichever, for the pain. Now, that was an old treatment for interstitial cystitis. Now, what happens is when I went in to go to do those bladder installations, is what they called them, with the Elmeron into the bladder, they would put a flexible catheter up into there, a long flexible catheter, and he would take this big syringe and squirt it up in there. Well, as he would drain the bladder first, and as the bladder drained, you would see this catheter just sit and bounce and just, I mean, it was everywhere. And I'm like, holy crap, why is that so uncomfortable? He's like, do you see the catheter moving? He's like, that is your bladder spasming. That is going off up against that catheter every time. So he's like, you're doing about 20 to 30 spasms per catheter. I'm like, okay, well, that's good to know. Interesting. So they were quick and fast, quick and fast, quick and fast, quick and fast. Now, unless I was actually having a cystitis flare up, the pain was dealable. I didn't have a whole lot of pain. I did use the Valium daily, and I did use pain medicine at night until I got really, really addicted. Again, that is an old treatment for bladder, for interstitial cystitis, simply because it is a highly, highly addictive treatment, and it's no life. That went on for a couple of years. I still worked and did everything else, if you could believe it or not, on all of that. And then that stopped working. When that stopped working, it got to the point where I was having bladder infections every time I turned around. So I would go to the doctor. 10 days later, I would go back in for a checkup. I'd still have a bladder infection. 10 days later, go back in, still more infection. And I was on the antibiotics constantly. So he's like, okay, your bladder's no longer fully draining. So now you have to sit down to pee like you normally would, but now you're going to have to catheter at nighttime, every night before you go to bed. And after sex. Crazy, I know. I'm like, okay. So that became a routine for a couple of years. Bladder infections kept coming to the point where I was actually being hospitalized. To this day, it's the oddest thing is I will actually, I've had a complete hysterectomy because of cancer. And to this day, I actually, if they do a urine pregnancy test, I test positive. I test pregnant, and I'm not, which I think is hilarious. So I have to tell them I do a false pregnancy every urine test. If you do a blood test, it'll be negative. But for some reason, there's something in that bladder that causes that urine to turn positive for pregnancy, which is weird. So that went on for a few years. Then we tried Botox. Then we tried Hemologin. And then we tried all of those incontinence drugs on the market. All of them, by the way, did not work for me. None of them worked. None of them worked whatsoever. And a lot of the problem wasn't the incontinence. It was that it dried the rest of me out so bad. I was on 1.5 gallons of water plus a day. And I was so dry and so dehydrated. And we believe it was just from all of the treatments and everything. And it got to the point where I couldn't keep food down. You just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. Up until recently, when I finally was discharged from my my urologist here in town and sent to the University of Arizona urologist for the university hospital. They have put in the implant into my back it's supposed to be like a pacemaker for your bladder. It was supposed to, well, they were hoping, let me rephrase. They didn't know. They were hoping it would help me to be able to go to the bathroom on my own. That it hasn't done. However, it has calmed the spasms down outside of breakouts, of issues. So if I'm not having any bad issue, ureter issues. If I'm not having a flare-up, that's the word I'm thinking of, is flare-up, I usually do pretty good. Sorry, my neighbor's out. As far as the spasms, I can actually go hours without a bladder spasm. I can do 2 or 3 a day, which is amazing. I was at one point having no less than 17 a day. I have, as long as I'm not in a cystitis flare-up, this implant that they put in there, this, I don't remember what they call it, it's a Norplant thing that they put in, has helped with those. However, when I am having a flare up, I'm between 200 and 400 bladder spasms a day. It got to the point where I was having to make little check marks on pieces of paper. So it gets a lot worse. So as far as this, I've actually had an okay day other than a little bit of stress. So my pain level has stayed right about an 8 most of the day. After smoking these last 2 times, I'm at about a 6 now, so I am a little bit more comfortable. I am not having a bladder spasm right now, so my bladder, I can still feel it sitting there, but it's not uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Understand? No, no, none of the other meds worked. The Botox injections kind of worked for a little while, but that was the only other medication that actually worked. No, it's the, I will get it down in the comments below. It is a neurostimulator. But I will put it down in the comments below that they put in it. If I'm not having a bad flare-up day, it does most of its job. You can feel it fluttering around in there. So like I have 17 different electrodes between my bladder and my intestines and all of this stuff in here. And then I have a little implant that controls it. So let's see, right there. So you can feel it, it's hard. It pinches at times, so if I roll over the wrong way in bed or whatever, it'll pinch up against my skin. You do have to be careful with that. But for the most part, it does actually work. I go back to the University of Arizona this month in February. I think we're going to talk about the urethra removal. I don't know how much further we're going to go with it, but I do want to talk to her a little bit more about it. I have had a really bad last month with the cystitis, so I've been in a constant flare-up. So I've been constantly spasming, and I have noticed that the spasms are worse with this implant in, and I don't like that so much. So I do have to be careful with that. I also notice that sometimes the marijuana isn't strong enough to really help me when I need it. So I will end up having to do back to back hits just to try to get it to calm down that flare up itself. So let's go ahead and let's do another one. Hi. You can't have this one, honey. It's got THC in it. You get the CBD ones. And I don't have no CBD crystals to give you, otherwise I would. You had a cookie? You had a cookie? You're a stoner too, I know. You can't have none either. So yes, my 2 dogs are both stoners. They would, if they could, they would have a hit every time I did. But no, we don't allow that. THC is not good for puppies. However, CBD, on the other hand, is good for them, is not bad. And it is actually kind of funny, and it does help my service dog, my old boy here, a lot with his pain. So as always, guys, fight cancer. Still very citrusy. Very good though. Very clean, very good tasting. I can definitely feel the euphoria going on. You can feel it buzzing right through here and then kind of right around the temples, which is kind of nice. It's kind of a fuzzy type of a feeling. The last hit did give me a little bit of a sore throat, but not too bad. So you do get a little bit of that pepper. They're so cute. Yeah, I love my babies. I do. Yes, you're stoner dogs. Yes, you're stoner dogs. Huh, you're stoner dogs. Yes, they are. Yeah, they're spoiled. I need to get them sponsored by, BarkBox or something. That way we could do a fun video with them, and then we'll smoke some CBD together. Oh, maybe we'll do that. That sounds like a fun show. What do you guys think? Should we do a puppy show? Smoke some CBD. Smoke some CBD and open the puppy box. What do you think? That would be fun. Yeah. So that is it for today, guys. My pain is down to about a 6. I'm getting comfortable. I'm going to go in, finish writing my letter to the disability board so they understand. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I might actually publish this letter to the website too, because I think that the information is good and useful, and I think that knowing how far this process goes in some cases, especially for those of you that are just starting out, I think would be beneficial, and maybe you guys will find something different now and you can share it with me and maybe it'll work. So until tomorrow, guys, have a great day. Mwah! Mad love as always.